Welcome everyone to part 10 of the Lewis Hamilton Time Trial Challenge on Gran Turismo Sport. In this part we are once again diving into the challenge set in the game by the maestro himself, Lewis Hamilton. And for this episode we're driving once again with the AMG GT GT3 from Mercedes-Benz and going this time at Autodromo de Interlagos. So, the very popular Brazilian circuit, host to many Formula 1 Grand Prix there, lots of good racing, really nice track to drive on in general. So, in the very first part that we did of this series, we just tried to get through this as fast as we could, try to beat Lewis Hamilton's time and get all the diamonds. In this part, we're looking at the track a bit more in depth, trying to really figure out what he does on a good lap, really how to approach the braking points and the apexes here at Interlagos. So we'll first have a look and see what he says about the track, and then we'll go and watch his lap without any interruptions. Then after that we'll take a look at his lap a bit more in depth, corner by corner, and after all of that we're going to try and beat his time once again and hopefully get onto this top 10, possibly even get first in the world. That would be very nice to do on this stream. So yeah. Hi Sierra and GTR, and hi GTX, nice to see you again. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys here with the video for about a minute and a half. See you in a bit.
Interlagos is an incredible circuit, quite unique. It's an anti-clockwise circuit. Brazil's unique in the sense that you've got great colors there. It's got great culture, and when you're there, for example, you really do feel the atmosphere. But driving the track in itself, it's really about also getting the flow. It's quite a short circuit. They've got the long straight for the main start, which is great, driving up the hill, and then down and then up into turn one. And you've got a very long steep turn one, which is hard to get the right braking point and the right point in which you have to come off the brakes and get the right line to set you up into turn two, so you can be full gas through 2 and 3, and then it's heavy braking into 4, then you're braking up through turn 6 and 7, which takes you into 8, which takes you into a real tight complex of corners, a left-hander and a right-hander, and then again another nice downhill into the last corner, which again is really super important that you don't brake too late in there so you can get a good exit. So it's a track that I have a lot of history on, and one that I really do love, and maybe some of you will remember the history we have there in 2008. So I hope that you enjoy it. This one's really just about, it's not so much really about braking, it's really just about the minimum speed you carry through the corners.
There you go. The important thing is about maximizing the minimum speed that you carry through the corners. Turn 1, very important corner of the track. That's really the one that sets up the time. If you don't get turn 1 right, then it's pretty much game over for the rest of the lap. But yeah, we'll do our best to heed the maestro's advice and hopefully put that into practice. So right now we're gonna play Lewis's lap, and then after that we'll go corner by corner. Okay, so here we go. Hi Andrew, welcome. I'm just going to play this lap now, so see you guys in a bit. Yeah, hi Tom, welcome. Great to see you again. Okay, so that was a lap with Lewis. And yeah. Ohayou gozaimasu, Hein-san. Genki desu ka? It's good to see you in here again. So we'll look at this now, corner by corner. We'll see how he takes each and every section. We'll first play it out in one small go, and then we'll take it bit by bit. Okay, so coming to turn one, it is a very, very difficult corner to get right, and a very small change in your braking, meaning if you brake just a little bit later or if you just brake a bit too early, you're really going to end up losing a lot of time, and it's particularly difficult to pinpoint where you have to brake on this track. So for starters, just try and I'll give you guys some sort of a guide on where you should brake. You can see Lewis passes the 100-meter board, and it's about at the point where the car is halfway between the 50-meter and the 100-meter board, and that's when Lewis starts applying the brakes, albeit very slightly. Yeah, and that's good to know, Hein. Glad to know that. So coming to turn one, this track really prefers a lot of trail braking. You can see he only starts getting properly on the brakes after he passes the 50-meter mark. So after that, he's just slowing down as much as he can. He's still keeping the engine engaged, applying a bit of throttle every time he downshifts. And after you pass this shadow here, that's projected by the bridge, takes you from the grandstands to the paddock area. That's when Lewis actually starts taking the brake a bit. That means that he's trying to get more of the trail brake into the car, because this car without the BOP on is particularly understeery, so you have to do whatever you can to get to turn in. And also that means engaging the trail brake as well. The engine brake, changing down earlier through the gears. See here, he takes off the brake by the point that his front tires are really on the curb now. When his front left probably reaches somewhere closer to this grassy area, and then after that, once he's gotten the car settled on the apex, that's when he starts pushing a bit more with the throttle. You can see he's letting it linger, just letting it roll downhill. Because it's downhill, he doesn't have to slow down by as much, he doesn't have to put so much acceleration to get the car up to speed. And once he's gone off the curb, that's when he starts accelerating. So for turn 2 here, the car, like Lewis has placed it, is ideally in the middle of the track. You want to maybe keep it a bit more to the left on the first, you want to hug the inside more at turn 1 so that you have a much wider line to carry through turn 2. So maybe keeping the car a bit more to the left of the track will help. But even keeping it on the middle is fine. It's just that you have to find that really fine balance between losing a lot of exit speed and losing a lot of entry speed. If you understeer off, it doesn't matter if you're carrying a lot of entry speed or apex speed. You're not going to be able to save the corner, and that's it. So being very cautious, but also trying to get as much as you can out of the car is important. See, he takes off once again before reaching the apex. And this is one point where the Maestro has left a lot of room for us to improve. You can see this is how he goes with the tires, and this is kind of ideally how you would do it in real life. But the track limits are made in that way that the curb is considered an extension of the track. So if you have at least 2 tires on the track, you should be fine. You don't get a penalty. So you can have the outside left tires where Lewis's inside tires are right now, and you would be fine. And that means you can really straighten up the corner a lot more. That means more speed, faster exits, and in general just a lot faster lap. Yeah. So he doesn't push quite full after he gets off the apex. He lets the car roll a bit more, and then after he's off the curb, then he applies a lot more of the acceleration. And then on this sustained left, try to keep it on the inside as much as you can. Don't want to go too wide on the exit, but don't want to hold it inside too much, because you know that you're going to be losing speed either way. So right about now, this is when the Sector 1 split finishes. Sector 2 starts. Okay, so coming to Sector 2, Lewis starts braking just at the 100-meter mark when the front part of the car reaches that, thereabouts. If you're really on a good lap and you want to maximize what you can out of the lap, your front end will typically be somewhere right in line with this 100-meter board. If you notice that you've passed it and that's when you start braking, then it's kind of a rule of thumb that you're going to miss the corner, so you want to look out for that quite a bit. So when braking, you can see Lewis, he applies full brake input because he doesn't have to turn. And after he's passed the 50-meter board and some, when he starts turning in, that's when he takes off the brake. Once again, trail braking is really important on this track, so he's using that to full effect to get the car turned as much as possible. See, still on the brakes, still holding them. You can see those lights are still on. And just when he touches the apex with his inside tire, was about to, that's when he takes off the brake and starts accelerating again. Just like turn 2, this corner here, you can really put a lot more of the car on the inside. So you can have, in this case, you can have your inside tires on the inside of this curb here, and you won't lose too much speed. And again, that just really shortens the distance that you have to cover over a lap, or through this corner specifically. So just another piece of advice, that this is where the Maestro has given us some room to improve. The exit here, you need to be careful to not be too greedy to accelerate early, and you want to make sure that your right outside tires at most are on the curb. If you go on this kind of aqua astroturf on the right, there is no grip to save you there. If you go too wide, the rear end could get loose if you've already gone wide a bit with the rear end, or if you have both of the front outside tires on it, you will understeer for a moment, the car will kind of get unsettled, and then when you readjust to that different level of grip and start turning back in, you'll just start to bite immediately once it gets back on track, and it'll just turn in suddenly. So it's highly advised to avoid that at all costs. If you have to sacrifice a bit of your exit, do that. It's better to finish the lap than to risk going off wide. But then again, when it comes to a time trial, thousands are in question, so that's why you really need to push as much as you can. This turn here, this is turn 5, you want to hold as much as you can on the inside with your left side of the car. You don't want to hit the barrier, obviously, on the inside. Okay, just really straight lining the exit so you can carry more speed. So, coming on up into this very heavy right-hander, it really takes a lot of speed off the car. Lewis starts braking like turn 1, except this is an uphill now. He starts braking in between the 100 and 50 meter board, so that's where you want to take off for a start. really light on the brakes at this point. Don't want to put too much pressure on them because this corner requires you to place the car a lot more than it is to slow it down. If you, like he said in his guide, it's more about maximizing the apex speed than it is really getting the brakes on. So you want to be carrying a lot more speed, but you want to have the car where you want it. So this first part, Lewis was trail braking quite a bit until he gets to the apex. His right inside tyres are on this apex, just missing the grass. And after that, he taps the brakes a bit more just to slow the car down to make sure it turns in better. He gets the second apex and has not really gone full throttle at this point. He only puts full throttle after he clears that apex and gets off the curb. Heading into Juncal, it's really hard to determine your braking point here. Maybe base it somehow on the approximate positioning of the Puma signs. That's what I've used to kind of muscle memory this part of the track. But in general, there really is very little that you can base your braking point on. So be careful that, because if a car's in front of you and is obstructing your view, it's very easy to brake late, to bump into the rear of them. That's just going to cause a whole cascade of unfortunate events that will see to a very bad race towards the end. But on a highlight like this, that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, look out for that. On the entry and the exit of the previous corner to the entry of this one, you can go a lot wider with your car. You can have your inside right tires on this curb here. So that's it's pretty much a car and a half width there. So 1.5 car widths wider. That really means that you can take the entry a lot more aggressively than you would than Lewis is doing here. Once again, he never really goes on full brake input. It's always about 50%, always trail braking. And here again, this is one of the places where Lewis has given us a bit more area to improve on. Once he reaches the apex, he takes off the brake as per usual. And once again, you can have your outside tires where his inside tires are. The inside tires can go freely over this grass, gravel and partially concrete mesh without losing any time. By the point that you get to the next corner, the grip loss is very minimal, so you lose a lot less than you would gain. So it's really beneficial to cut there. Being very patient on the exit of Juncal. If you push too early, the car's going to spin off to the right, or it's going to understeer off, and you're going to have a hard time getting through the next left-hander. And let's just run that back one more time. I want to see where he takes off the throttle. So by the time the front end of his car comes within striking distance of the inside curb, that's when he takes off. It's kind of, you have to really get a feeling for the car around here. It's basically once the car straightens up and you feel like you can push, you don't. So you have to fight that feeling of pressing the throttle quite hard. And you just really take it off and take a lot of precautionary methods in your acceleration in this sector, because if you push too hard, it's always going to bite back and it's never going to end well. This left-hander, you want to hold the inside. It's kind of a double apex corner, so you want to have an early entry. You're going to go out slightly to the middle of the track in the middle of the corner. And coming in the back, you kind of almost hit the curb a second time, and after you've passed that point, that's when you can typically expect to have a bit more grip and traction, since it's an uphill, and that's where you can push more. Throughout that corner, you have to be very careful how much throttle you put. Once again, you can lose it all in a split second if you're not careful. On the exit, watch out for the grass on the right. Don't be too greedy. You can get away with a bit, like with your outside tires just touching the grass, because you can save that. But don't go with more than half a car off. After that point, it gets really unstable, and there's no guarantee that you're going to make it to the next hairpin. So going through here, you want to try and straight line the entry. No, you want to straight line your approach towards the entry of the corner, so not turning quite so much. And Lewis, he actually starts braking in the middle of the track after his car passes the start of the curb here. And then after that, he just lets the car brake straight towards the outside. Uses a bit of the incline of the track that pulls the car towards the inside. He uses that to rotate a bit more, along with the trail braking, as you can see on his input there, to get it rotated. And he holds the inside. And this is really a good approach, how he takes it, because if you were to go a bit wider, it's generally very hard to hold the inside here. If you go on the outside, there's no telling what's going to happen. It's easy to understeer off, it's easy to spin around if you're not careful with the throttle. And if you hold the inside, it's really forcing you to be careful if you hold the inside, because you don't want to spin out, of course. And going at the slower speed kind of helps to prevent that. Yeah, once again, your inside tires right on the curb there. That's pretty much perfect placement by the maestro. And once he reaches the apex, which he's done now, that's when he takes off the throttle, of course. So after that, he accelerates a bit. Doesn't accelerate too early, once again not to spin out. Doesn't do that either to understeer off the track. Just in time. You have to get a feeling for the car to know when to do this. And it takes a lot of trial and error to get it right. Coming to this next downhill left-hander, you want to get the car towards the right of the track as much as you can after the exit of the hairpin, so you can maximize your entry speed and try and keep the apex to the inside if you can. You can see, for the most part, he's on full throttle. But at a point he has to take off, and you can see there it is, he has to take off, otherwise the car will just understeer. It's still off. Still off, and he hasn't touched the inside apex, and that's the thing. This is one of the places where we can improve upon. So if you have your inside tires on the curb on the inside, that means that you're doing something right. You have to hold the inside for a fair bit, but once again, through trial and error, you'll feel that the car's just going to be taking itself out, and through time you're going to know when to actually put a lot more throttle on, and to just carry all that speed that you've developed down through the exit. Not going too fast as to go off wide here on the AstroTurf, because that's going to really not give you any grip to work with coming to the last corner. Or second last corner technically. And yeah, your outside tires, you want to keep them as much as you can on this curb to be safe. Really use a lot of throttle in the exit. It's pretty much the moment you clear that exit and you feel like you've got gaining speed, that's when you need to take it off again and get off the throttle. So let's look at this again. Takes off, holds the inside, tries to get as much speed as he can through the exit, and after he's passed this curb on the right, it's literally between the curb and the 50-meter mark. We're a bit closer to the curb, I'd say. Thereabouts. And that's when he takes off the brakes once again. So you have to take them off fairly early in this car. Since it's uphill, may not have to use quite as much brake, but if you want to get the maximum stopping power out of this car, you do want to do that. So that's what Lewis does after he passes the 50-meter mark. Starts turning in, takes off the brake progressively, approaches the hairpin, doesn't have any throttle input. At this point, he's actually gone a little bit wide. You can get away with this, but you're going to lose time. If you put your left tires on this curb on the inside, ideally just clipping the grass here, you're going to go a lot faster, because if you compare Lewis's line from about, where's the grass? Yeah. Forwards quite a far bit back. So if you compare it here, he has to actually hook it in, and it's a lot easier to hook it in if you go more towards the inside. That means you can accelerate earlier out because the exit's going to come to faster, and you're going to be able to straight line and really streamline as well your driving line. On the exit, don't want to be too greedy because your outside tires can go off wide there, they can catch a bit of grass. It's really going to ruin a lot of the work that you've done throughout the lap. Yeah, after that, it's pretty much pushing all the way back to the straight start-finish line. If you want to gain some time, you want to keep to the inside here with your car. Make sure that you don't hold too much of the inside because you've got this kind of very shallow left at the end, and if you hold too much of the inside, you're going to lose speed and you're going to scrub off some momentum, having to turn more to make it through there. This very last part of the track, you want to hold the inside as much as you can, even get close to the wall, but so that you shorten the path finish line and gain as much time as you can. So that was Lewis's lap in depth. We'll try and replicate that now, try and beat him, and yeah, hopefully get on the top 10, preferably in first place. Yeah, bonjour parti pris. Welcome to the stream. Brake balance for this track, you want to have it somewhere around +1. So you really need to get a lot of rotation out of the car. So immediately, just a lot of understeer. And get a track limit penalty. The lines are a little bit different. That's because I'm able to utilize more of the track than Lewis is able to do. Wide there. I'm going to lose the drag to the finish line, but it doesn't really matter because we have a penalty, and that's going to ruin the lap anyhow. So there we go. It's not great.
No way. How did you do that?
Yeah, Lewis, it wasn't the greatest lap, so try and do better next time. Oh, very good time. Very pretty. Well done. once again we get a penalty and we're cutting too much in that turn too. Being a bit too greedy. And you can see we're really playing a lot with the track limits, so we're not doing ourselves any favors at this point in time. We got that pretty decent. We are losing a bit now on the straight because we held the inside too much. But it's all good. Very difficult interval.
No
Yeah.
way. How did you do that?
D'accord. Parti plus. So we're 30.290 for a first decent lap. That's not bad. But there's a lot more time in it. We need to be chasing the top guys, and yeah, we can find enough time for sure to get us within this top 10. So we're gonna go again. We're gonna keep trying to get in. Merci, Patrick. Yep, there's the oversteer. That's the rear end losing itself. Yeah, and that was not a good exit either. It's not going to be a good lap. Might as well just go again. So yeah, the power band on this default BRP AMG seems a bit more different than the standard Group 3 BRP that we have. So you actually have to change gears a little bit earlier to get more out of it. But in the end, it's essentially the same car. So if you know how to drive the normal Group 3, you shouldn't have too much trouble driving this car. At least this version of it. So we're getting a bit closer.
No way. How did you do that?
Still about 2/10 off the top 10 at this point, so we can definitely get it. We are losing a lot of time in the braking zones, and I feel that if we get that right, we can gain a lot more. Start turning in a bit too late. Throwing it too much. The exit, and with the ghosts in the way, it's not going to help. Change braking, but we'll try and catch up to see where we're losing time on our best lap. Way too careful on the brakes there. That was a bad compromise that we braked a bit too late. It's gain in that corner. So it's really a lot about compromise on this track. If you brake too late, your entry is bad. If you brake too early,
no way.
You're going to be losing too much on the brakes. So finding that balance between the two is really important. Too wide, gonna get a penalty. Yep, exactly. Oh, he didn't go in the first there. He had to go in the first. Yeah, that's where we lost time.
No way. How did you do that?
Give this another 15 minutes, and then if we don't improve, we don't improve. It's fine. So we're not getting this first corner right anymore. We're steering a bit too much. Braking too late. Can figure out that corner. That's get it how we used to do it. Be good. Penalty. Yeah, that happens. It can be distracting sometimes, but most part it is helpful if you're in front of it. That's the thing. I find myself that I actually drive a lot faster if I'm in front of my ghost. It's kind of easier to be faster if I see that someone's behind me. Had this been our lap, that would have been really good.
No way. How did you do that?
The problem is that we, first corner, we just cut it a bit too much. Just a little bit. That's the thing. So really, really close to getting it right or getting a penalty. Yeah, hi BB01. Welcome. Man, it can really be distracting. Another 10 minutes and then calling an end there. We're not getting the inside early enough, that's the thing. That's where we're losing it. Too wide. I can't tell you BB01. Sorry. People ask me a lot what I use and I can't say. Okay, so that...
No way. How did you do that?
That ghost is the... that's the lap that we cut the first corner with. So that's the one that we got the penalty on that we're following. So if we're able to beat that, then that would mean we're on a good lap. What's the reason for that, if you don't mind? Yeah, I'm not sponsored by a wheel manufacturer, and I don't really have the right to promote any of the wheels at this point, so I don't think it'd be suitable for me to do that anytime soon, unless I get sponsored by Wheel Producer. Yeah, but hi Smokey. Nice to see you again, mate. I'm doing fine, thanks. How about yourself? Having a hard time beating Lewis. Sorry, getting into the top 10 at this track. They're all just really close together. I'm missing about a 10th. If I can find that 10th somewhere, I'll be inside the top 10 and I'll be pretty happy, because I know that a lot of people really try their best in Interlagos. No problem, BD. Whatever we did in that first one is not really replicable. Can't do that again. But the thing is that we got the penalty then. So we did cut the track a bit too much that time. Oh my word, no. I need to get that ghost off. That ghost needs to get off because I can't see the track in front of me anymore when I'm on a good run. Cut a bit too much of a Juncal because I couldn't see. You like interviewing sports apart from racing? Maybe I'm into soccer. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's really mostly motorsports. Team do you support? All the Australian ones, of course. Manchester United. I support them. Always have. Perth Glory. Like I said, I all the Australian teams in a nutshell. Vardar, Botnički, those are Macedonian football teams, soccer teams, sorry. I'm very into them. If they ever get a good result, I'm always up. Happy to support them. But yeah, we're not getting this lap. Have to take maybe half an hour more to get it right. But yeah, we're just outside the top 10. It's a shame we couldn't get them. Less than a tenth to the top 10, so pretty close. CI, okay. Not sure if you can talk about it by you going. Can't talk about it, Smokey. It would be nice. I'll be able to talk about it when Gran Turismo officially reveal the event. But yeah, we managed to improve by 7/10 on what we did previously in the very first stream of Lewis Hamilton Time Trial Challenge. So it's not bad. 7/10 is quite a big margin to improve on, but and we could have definitely got inside the top 10. We could have been third. So third is always what I try to aim for, like top 3. But this track is very easy to lose. It's very hard to gain. And this is where a lot of the top players really put a lot of effort into the lap. So if we get into the top 10, we have done really good. Hey Felipe, I'm doing fine, thanks. How about yourself? I'd love to see you in a real race series, bro. I think you'd smash it. Oh, thank you for the compliment. And thank you for thinking so highly of me. I'd say that it would need quite a lot of time to adapt. So I wouldn't be, I wouldn't set the world on fire at the very first race. But with time, I might be able to, if I can provide enough feedback to the team so that they can set up the car, if I can learn how to save tires and manage myself in a race. It's all completely different when you put yourself in a real life race car, is what I think. So yeah, I definitely need to do a lot of practice before I'm getting up there. Your attitude will get you there, mate. Yeah, thanks, BB. I'm trying to just look at it positively, and it's all one big learning experience, if anything. With time, I'll just get better and better, and I'll learn from mistakes. They don't have to be my own, they can be others. But yeah. Anyhow, that's going to do it for part 10 of the Lewis Hamilton Time Trial Challenge here on Gran Turismo. And next part is going to be maybe the final one, the second final one. It's going to be the Sauber C9 at the Nordschleife. Means the north section of the Nürburgring, and that's going to be something really to look forward to. I'd say it's a very difficult car to get a hang of. It's a very difficult car to drive fast, and all in all, it's at the Nordschleife, and that is, the Green Hell is the track to set a time at. If you set a fast time there, then you really know how to drive quickly. But we'll see what happens in the next stream, in the next part of the Lewis Hamilton Time Trial Challenge. Thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, thank you BB01, and thank you Smokey. It is definitely quite a track. Until next time, guys, stay safe, have a nice day wherever you may be, and till next time, driving with the best.